could start. We can start. So I have to read we are redoing the para. So, for in the Vedantic view. Okay.
Yes.
The chapter is dealing with the possibility and purpose of avatar. Possibility, because on the one hand, many religions think that the divine is very, very far away. Good morning, Pallavi. The divine is bonjour. The divine is so perfect. Human beings can never approach him even. So this is one view of things. Yasmin, good morning. So that's a possibility. But in the Indian context, in the Indian philosophy, everything is only the divine. So therefore, if the matter is divine, obviously he can be here also, maybe hidden, maybe veiled, maybe hiding, but he is there. Okay, so there is a possibility. Then the purpose of avatarhood also he has discussed earlier, and he has said that the purpose is to take the evolution forward and maintain the dharma in the physical world. But Shraddha has gone a little beyond the Gita. Dharma samsthapanarthaya is in the Gita, the establishment of the dharma and the destruction of the adharma. But Shraddha says if that was the only thing, then an avatar, he need not come down, he is already here. So, he says that the avatar's purpose is to show mankind how to proceed on the spiritual path. Okay? That is one thing. And also, not only that, but his very presence here in the physical world, not hidden, but open. The divine is here, but hidden. So when the avatar comes, he becomes not hidden, but open in the physical world. That is the purpose. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now he is discussing that purpose of avatarhood and possibility also. So I'm reading each sentence and then we'll see whether it's clear. For in the Vedantic view of things, all these apparently formidable objections are null and void from the beginning. Why? Because the divine is everywhere. There is no place which says entry forbidden, okay, to the divine. He is there everywhere. This idea is not accepted very easily by many others. The entry of the divine in the physical world is forbidden. No permission for entry. That's the notice in matter. That's what they say. But not the Vedanta. Okay? For in the Vedantic view of things, all these apparently formidable objections are null and void. Null is another word for nil. Okay, so void from the beginning. The idea of the avatar is not indeed indispensable to its scheme. To whose scheme? The Vedantic view. Okay? It's not indispensable. But it comes in naturally into it as a perfectly rational and logical conception. For all here is God, is a spirit or self-existence, is Brahman, ekam eva dvitiyam, ekam eva advitiyam. Okay? Only one, without a second. There is nothing else, nothing other and different from it. And there can be nothing else. There can be nothing else. Can be nothing other and different from it. Okay? Nature is and can be nothing else than a power of the divine consciousness. So the question arises, if it is divine, then why is there so much imperfection? Why is there death? Why is there inconscience? So the explanation is that it is there, but hiding behind the veil. So again you can ask question, why is he hiding? Why is he not openly? Because it's a Leela. He is playing a game with himself, and you must remember that the divine, who is the divine? Okay, that again brings me to yesterday's discussion with Archanadi. Okay, she was saying that there is a individual will and there is a divine will. Okay, And if the divine will is there, it seems to be a contradiction. But the contradiction goes away when you remember that every human being is also divine. Okay? So at the highest level, the divine is having a will. But when that will comes down, and where is it coming down? Into the individual. Because each individual is a divine. But the law of diminution and distortion comes in, and the divine will in the supreme divine becomes the human will in the human divine. Okay, so that is the explanation. So it is you yourself who are creating your conditions, and you yourself who are facing the difficulties, but having forgotten that you have accepted this challenge. That's why there is suffering and difficulties and obstacles. Okay, so, so we go back to the text. Nature is and can be nothing else than a power of the divine consciousness. All beings are and can be nothing else than inner and outer, subjective and objective soul forms and bodily forms of the divine being, which exist in or result from the power of its consciousness. Okay? Far from the infinite being weak, far from the infinite being unable to take on finiteness, the whole universe is nothing else but that. Because we have to grant the power of limiting itself to the divine. There are ideas that the divine is fixed in omnipotence and omniscience. But that's not true. He is that at the highest level, but he also has the power to diminish himself. Because if you don't give him that power, then he is not fully omnipotent. He is not fully divine. He is not fully perfect. You must give the credit to the divine for doing whatever he wants. So if he wants to limit himself, he has the right to do that. Otherwise, your conception of the divine is limited. Okay, so nature is and can be nothing else than a power of the divine consciousness. That we have read. Okay. Far from the infinite being unable to take on finiteness, the whole universe is nothing else but that. We can see, look as we may, nothing else at all in the whole wide world we inhabit. Okay? Nothing else at all in the whole wide world we inhabit. Far from being the spirit, being incapable of form or disdaining to connect itself with form of matter or mind and to assume a limited nature or a body, all here is nothing but that. The world exists only by that connection, that assumption. If the divine is not there, then matter cannot exist. Okay? Nothing can exist without the divine, because he is the only thing that exists. Now the third time he is saying far from. Okay, so far from infinite, he can be finite. Far from being formless, far from being only formless, he can take on a form. Lastly, thirdly, far from the world being a mechanism of law, with no soul or spirit intervening in the movement of its forces or the action of its minds and bodies. Okay, it's a huge sentence. We'll take it up by piece by piece. Far from the world being a mechanism of law. In other words, there is complete mechanical law in the physical world, and the divine is freedom. So where is the freedom here? So he cannot. That's what he's saying, but that's not true. Okay. It is that the mechanism of law with no soul or spirit intervening in the movement of its forces or the action of its minds and bodies, there is a parenthetical phrase. Only some original indifferent spirit passively existing somewhere outside or above it. We'll discuss this parenthetical phrase later. The whole world and every particle of it is, on the contrary, nothing but the divine force in action. And that divine force determines and governs its every movement, inhabits its every form, possesses here every soul and mind. All is in God, and in Him moves and has its being. In all He is, acts, and displays His being. Every creature is a disguised Narayan. Not the word disguised. That's a key to the whole thing. At the highest level, he is undisguised. At the lowest level, he is still God, but he is disguised. Disguised by what? The clothes of matter, the clothes of vital, and the clothes of the mind. These are the three. The three, sattva, rajas, tamas. So if you want to go to the spiritual field, you have to get rid of all these clothes and go to level 2. Okay? So this is what we are saying. The key is disguised Narayan. Okay? So I hope it is clear, and this is very, very clear that you must keep this in mind. Okay? Everything at the highest level, the divine openly available, but very difficult for man to climb up to that height. At the middle levels, he is available, but partial, not fully. Then in the physical world, level 1, he is available, but very, 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 very difficult because he's hiding, and he's hiding extremely well. Very difficult to get through to him. Okay? And that is possible when you reach level 3. When you reach level 3, then he becomes available even at level 1. Level 3 is the supermind. And if you go there, you can see the divine here opening. Otherwise, difficult. Of course, there is a theory of pantheism, which you can experience in level 2. You can see the nature as divine. But not you won't see the transcendent, nor will you see the individual. So it's only partial. Okay? This is the para that he is saying. So the possibility of avatarhood doesn't become a possibility anymore. It's a certainty because the divine is everywhere. And there is no law which forbids him from going wherever he wants. As I said, no entry, no admission without permission is a notice in many, many clubs and many, many places, but not for the divine. He is there everywhere. He can go wherever he wants. Okay, because he is only created everything. So that the avatar rule is very, very consistent with Vedantic view. But Srimad is saying something interesting. Vedanta, the avatar rule is a consequence. It's not at all a primary, one of the fundamental statements of the Vedantic view. It's only a consequence. The divine is everywhere, so he can go everywhere. And the purpose we have seen is to lead the human being to the spiritual path and become an example to the world how to go about the business. Okay, so now we go to the next para, where again he begins from the far from being unborn. So 4 times he has said far from, far from, far from. This is the 4th time.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, tell me.
Now, Lord Krishna belongs to the overmind plane.
Yes.
But what about Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva? Are they supermind or they are also overmind?
These are the personal forms of the impersonal forms of consciousness. I'll tell you because just recently only I've been reading about it and I will tell you, okay, since you have raised the question. Okay, just 1 minute. There is a book, okay, Essays, Divine and Human. And in that, okay, he has given a great amount of explanation about Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva and Krishna. Okay, so I just read out that to you. So it will be very, very clear. So here we are. So Brahma is the personal aspect of Sat, substance. Okay? You can note down if you want, or it will be recorded, so it will be there available with you. Brahma is the personal aspect of the Sat, which is impersonal, Sat is a substance. Okay? Or if you want truth, because truth is what? Truth is that which exists. And existence is substance. Okay? Then we have Vishnu. Vishnu is the eternal personality of consciousness. Okay? So you have Sat, Chit. So Brahma is the personification of the impersonal consciousness, Chit. Okay, clear? Then we have Shiva. Shiva is the eternal personality of the impersonal force, Shakti. Okay? So very, very clear. This is what Srila said in the essays, Divine and Human. Very clearly written. Then what about Krishna? Krishna is a personal representative of the eternal personality of impersonal Ananda. Very clear. I thank you for asking the question, Yasmin. But these are so Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and Krishna are the personal aspects of the impersonal aspects of Satchit Ananda, Satchit Shakti Ananda. Okay? Since it's recorded, you can always access it, but it is also there on Essays, Human and Divine. Okay? So on page 208. There's a couple of...
Rangada,
Yeah, tell me.
What is the title of the essay?
Oh, achha, okay.
It's
on 208, page 208.
And Rangada, page will differ because I will see it in the CWSA or in SABCL. Yeah, and you are having that book, so pages will differ. If you could give me the title of the essay.
Okay, I'll give you. Okay, so it is Nature, World Manifestation. Okay. Nature, manifestation. But it's a huge thing with many, many numbers. Nature, the world manifestation. And CWSA, it goes on page 193. It's a very big, about 50, 60 pages. Huh? So
this is, Rangat, I think this is volume 12 or 13.
Yeah, no. Volume 12.
12. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rangat.
Yeah. It's a very, very interesting thing that you did. And Yasmin gave me the opportunity of going back to it. I've just recently read about it. So also there's another one. We also think of Brahma is the one who creates. Okay. Brahma is the creator. Vishnu is the preserver. And Shiva is the destroyer. Because both are there all the time. There is construction and there is immediate destruction. Why should destruction be there? Because it's a principle, and all principle will exist in the infinite. So that also is there. And not only that, there's another thing also. When you construct something, a construction is bound to be finite. And if it is finite, it will be imperfect. And if it is imperfect, and if you want progress, you have to destroy it. I'm going step by step. So that which is constructed is imperfect. And that which is imperfect has to be made more perfect. Therefore, you have to destroy the old and create the new. So that is Shiva is the destruction aspect. But it is done instantaneously at every second together. It's not done in time. First I destroy and then I create. I create and then I destroy. It's not in time. It is instantaneous, simultaneous. That's why you get the impression of it is preserved. The world is not being destroyed every minute. It is being destroyed every minute and created every minute because it's simultaneous. Okay? So this is an interesting principle which you have to keep in mind. You would have seen the destruction and the construction had it been in time. If there was a slight gap between construction and destruction, you would have seen that they are being destroyed and it being built. But when they are together, okay, then you cannot see that. That's the whole thing. Okay.
Then Rangada.
Yeah.
Then Rangada. Then why the need for preservation?
Innovation.
Preservation, Vishnu.
No, I didn't follow.
No, you said creator, preserver, and destructor. No.
Yeah, that's
Brahma,
it.
Vishnu. So why the need for preservation if the construction and destruction comes simultaneously?
Okay. Preservation is for the continuity in the physical world. Yeah? And actually preservation is an illusion. Okay, the sense of continuity in the physical world is an illusion. You realize that when you go to the higher mind and you see that you are in a consciousness which is absolutely static. So there is no construction and no destruction. The construction and destruction going on in the world, and that you see to be an illusion. Okay, if only destruction and construction were real, then where the need of preservation? Your question is a very valid one. But because they are simultaneous, you get the illusion of permanence. Yeah. I wonder if you follow what I'm saying. Okay. You are absolutely right that there is no need for preservation because instantaneously there is both. So there's no need for preservation, but you get the feeling of preservation. The divine is only permanent. In the physical world, there is destruction and also construction. That's what happens. You have to use your imagination a lot. Okay. Okay. This sense of continuity is a very interesting thing. Okay. So,
Something like the cinema, Rangada.
Exactly. I was just going to tell that. Exactly. You feel that it is a continuous thing. Actually, it is not. Every second is broken up into 24 frames. And when you reach 24 frames, then you feel that it is continuous movement. But if it was 10 frames per second, you will see a staccato movement. Like that. Or if it is more than 24 frames, then you will see it as though it's a very slow motion. Okay. So this is the interesting part. So actually that's exactly like the cinema. It's a very interesting thing that you, so the cinema, the 24 frames explains exactly this principle. Brahma and Vishnu. And this is what also that Fridtjof Capra, who was a scientist, and he wrote the book, The Tao of Physics. And there he has mentioned Sri Aurobindo a lot because all the principles. So there he had an experience. He was sitting on the California coast and he had the experience of the destruction and the instantaneous creation of the universe. Okay. So he wrote this book, The Tao of Physics. Tao is nothing but the Brahman, okay, in Chinese. So he wrote that book and there he has compared scientific statements with Sri Aurobindo's statements. They are absolutely compatible with each other. Okay. When science, not at the physical level, but at the intellectual level, after the quantum theory upset all their ideas of materialistic reality. Matter is not the only reality. Now science is very clearly, they know of that matter is not the only reality. They even speak of antimatter. Okay, so they have understood now that consciousness is the fundamental reality. Although there are many individual materialists who exist. Okay. So, Jasmine, thank you for raising the question. Okay. So, Brahma is Sat, the personal aspect of Sat, which is impersonal, matter, substance. Then Vishnu, okay, is the personal aspect of consciousness. Shiva, the personal aspect of Shakti. And Krishna, the personal aspect of Ananda. And it is this Krishna, the personal aspect of Krishna, who descended into Sri Aurobindo's very body on the 24th November 1926. He entered into Sri Aurobindo's body And that's why he very clearly, this statement itself shows that Swayambhu is an avatar. Okay? And he never discouraged people from worshipping Krishna. That problem was particularly there with Dilip Kumar Roy. Dilip Kumar Roy used to always, he was very much attracted to Vaishnava. Okay, he was very much attracted to Krishna. And Shiva says, no problem at all. No problem. They are the same. Okay. So now, can we do the next one? Next para. Far from the unborn being unable to assume birth. So, one of you has to read. Yasmin, can you read?
Sorry, I don't have the book with me today.
Okay, so either Sunki, maybe you can read?
Yes, I can read.
Okay, go ahead.
Far from the unborn being unable to assume birth, all beings are even in their individuality unborn spirits, eternal, without beginning or end, and in their essential existence and their universality, all are the one unborn spirit, of whom birth and death are only a phenomenon of the assumption and change of forms. The assumption of imperfection by the perfect is the whole mystic phenomenon of the universe. But the imperfection appears in the form and action of the mind or body assumed, subsist in the phenomenon. In that which assumes it, there is no imperfection, even as in the sun which illumines all there is no defect of light or of vision, but only in the capacities of the individual organ of a vision. Nor does God rule the world from some remote heaven, but by his intimate omnipresence. Each finite working of a force is an act of infinite force, and not of a limited separate self-existent energy, laboring in its own underived strength. In every finite working of a will and knowledge, we can discover, supporting it, an act of infinite all will and all knowledge. God's rule is not an absentee, foreign, external government. He governs all because he exceeds all, but also because he dwells within all movement and is their absolute soul and spirit. Therefore, none of the objections opposed by our reason to the possibility of avatarhood can stand in their principle. For the principle is a vain division made by the intellectual reason, which the whole phenomenon and the whole reality of the world are busy every moment contradicting and disproving.
Yeah. This is another example, far from, and why the possibility of avatarhood is not a possibility, but it's a certainty. It can be done. So, because each individual is really the divine. Why individual? Even each division, even the atom is divine. Okay, but the divine is hiding and veiling himself. That's the whole problem. So, I'm reading each sentence. Far from the unborn being unable to assume birth, all beings are, even in their individuality, unborn spirits, eternal, without beginning or end, and in their essential existence and their universality, all are the one unborn spirit, of whom birth and death are only phenomenon of the assumption and change of forms. So what Sridhar is saying is, the divine is coming everywhere down. At the highest level, he does not need to clothe himself. He is nakedly available in all his glory and his form. But when he comes down into the physical world, he is hiding behind the forms. Okay? He has to wear clothes. And the clothes are the matter, the life, and the mind. Just like we wear several clothes. Okay? We have outer clothing, we have inner clothing, and sometimes even something more than that. Okay? If you have an overcoat and a shirt and a banyan. Okay? So that's it exactly. So the one that is bearing the body and entering into the body, that is the divine, and he is unborn. And when you realize that you are the psychic being or the self, you realize that you are immortal. You have always been. So it is a divine coming down and entering into a body made by Prakriti. Prakriti is creating the body and inviting the divine to come and occupy the body. It's like you make a new house and you invite the divine to come and enter into it. Or if you want another image, it's like the architect who builds the house and the contractor who builds the house and then tells the owner, you can take possession of the house. It's ready for you. So Prakriti is creating the body, mind, life, and the Purusha is entering into it. And the Purusha is the individual soul. And the individual soul is a divine soul down in the physical world. He is a divine. At the highest level, the individual soul becomes the universal soul, and that is God. There is a big connection between the divine will and the human will. The human will is a divine will in a distorted form. Okay, that's right. So there's change of. Now, the next one. The assumption of imperfection by the perfect, okay, is a whole mystic phenomenon of the universe. It is mystic and it's also a mystery. Okay, so it's a mystery. When you are not aware of things, but when you go higher up and climb in consciousness, realize yourself or the your psychic being, then the mystery starts becoming not so much of a mystery. You start understanding the mystery. It's just the divine has taken a form. But the imperfection appears in the form and action of the mind or body which has been assumed, okay, which subsists in the phenomenon. In that which assumes it, that assumes it, the soul. That which assumes it, there is no imperfection. Even as a sun which illumines all, there is no defect of light or of vision, but only in the capacity of the individual organ of vision. This is from the Katha Upanishad. Okay? The 11th verse of the second, the Katha Upanishad is divided into 3 sections. So it is one of them. Suryo yatha sarva lokasya chakshur na limpyate. Okay? Chakshur ekastha sarvabhutanam antaratma na lipyate loka dukkhena panya. So it's a chakshu, which is the defect, not the sun. There is no defect in the sun. Okay, that's what he's saying. There is a Katha Upanishad. So exactly in the same way, you are seeing the imperfection, but the imperfection is from your point of view. From the divine point of view, it's not an imperfection, it's a hiding. It's a veiling of oneself. That's why imperfection is a negative connotation. But there is no negative connotation for the divine. He is just hiding himself. Okay? But only in the capacity of the individual organ of vision. Nor does God rule the world from some remote heaven, but by his intimate omnipresence. Now, this also we can get an image to ourselves and then we'll understand. Each finite working of force is an act of infinite force and not of a limited, separate, self-existent energy, laboring in its own underived strength. Okay. In every finite working of will and knowledge, we can discover supporting it, an act of the infinite all will and all knowledge. This is exactly what will be of great help to Archana because of her question that. So look at this carefully. Okay. In every finite working of will, in other words, human will and knowledge, we can discover supporting it, an act of the infinite all will and all knowledge. So Exactly, this is exactly what will answer her question the other day. Okay, the contradiction between the fate and the divine will. If the divine will is all powerful, why is there not, he is not effective here? That's the question and there is the answer. God's rule, I said, by the way, I said that we can have an image person. The image can be like this. Okay? Man is an actor on the stage. Okay, but there is a prompter in the wings, and the prompter is making sure that the actor is not making a mistake and all his words are correct. Suppose he falters a little, the prompter from the wings whispers to the actor that these are the next words. Exactly, the divine is there behind, hiding in the wings of the stage, and he is telling, and that's why everything seems to be so being correctly done, like the instinct in animals. Okay. Or you can also say another thing, like the exhibition hall. In the exhibition hall, all the paintings are there. The paintings are the world. But who has created? The artist may not be present in the exhibition hall. The artist is absent. Okay, that's exactly also the universe. The universe is created by the artist, the divine, but he is not present in the exhibition hall of the world. You can see it in that way also. But he's there. He is the one who has created. And if you call him, he will come. And he will even explain to you each painting. If you call him, he will come and explain to you the mystery, and he will even guide you to understand what this painting is all about. Okay. So God's rule is not an absentee, foreign or external government. He governs all because he exceeds all, but also because he dwells within all movements and he is their absolute soul and spirit. Which is this one? There is an individual divine. There is a transcendent divine who is not interested in the world. That is one aspect. But when he gets interested in the world, he creates a universe. That's a universal divine. Then he comes down into the universe and guides each movement like a prompter. So he is the individual divine. So when Srimli is saying he is not absentee, but he is very much there, he is an individual divine in every form. Okay? He governs all because he exceeds all, but also because he dwells within all movements and is their absolute soul and spirit. Therefore, none of the objections opposed by our reason to the possibility of avatarhood can stand in their principle. He is very much there at all the three levels. But the principle of the no possibility of the divine coming there, that's a principle, is a vain division, useless division and vain. It is not effective at all. Made by the intellectual reason, which the whole phenomenon and the whole reality of the world are busy every moment contradicting and disproving. So we can stop here today. There's just 1 minute left for 8. Oh, it's 8:14. So 2 paras where he is explaining very clearly that purpose of avatarhood is definite and the possibility is not a possibility, it's a certainty that the divine can do that whenever he wants. Okay? So we stop here today. Come in.
Thank you, Rangada.
Merci Rangada. Au revoir. Bonne journée.
Very
Merci,
interesting.
merci beaucoup.
Okay. Au revoir.